What if going outside is not what you need right now? Not everyone feels safe out in nature, and that really matters. What if grounding starts where you are right now? Yes, I mean your living room, your bedroom, your home essentially. Lately, I started questioning what grounding actually means for me and what actually feels like to feel present and safe in my own body, without having to force myself to do something that I don't want to do, like going outside. Without having to force myself to do something that doesn't feel aligned or doesn't feel good or natural for that matter. So lately I've been thinking a lot about this concept of grounding and what it means to me. Because we hear it all the time. Go outside, go touch some grass, go to hug a tree. And yes, well, I understand where that comes from. I've realized that grounding doesn't look like that for a lot of people. And it doesn't have to look like that. And that's when I started looking at my relationship with grounding and how I can do that from the safety and the comfort of my own home. We hear people talking about grounding as something that you do to come back to your body and to bring yourself and your attention again to the present moment. And it can really help you feel safe and more regulated and more connected to yourself and to your body, instead of always being stuck in your head, which is where we are most of the time. It can really calm your nervous system and reduce all the overthinking, because if you're a sensitive person, you usually are in that mental space where you overthink everything in every situation. Grounding can really bring you back into that state of presence and to the now and what is happening now and not later and not, in the past. And I think that's why nature is often seen as one of the many ways that you can do that you can truly come back to the body and ground yourself. In nature, you can experience all the sensory elements, like listening to the bird, like touching grass, hugging a tree. All of this happens in a physical body, and it's a sensory experience, I guess. So in many ways that could be very helpful, because that's not something that we get to do in our daily lives. We're always stuck on our phones and doing things that we don't want to do on computers and working or watching TV. So nature becomes a moment where you can just be. And while that can be very beneficial and very powerful, I still never felt the pull to do it. I am definitely not a nature, like forest, green grass, trees kind of person. Never been. Being out in nature always gave me allergies, and it never made me feel the comfort that people were selling. For me, it was always quite the opposite. I always felt uncomfortable there. It always felt like really too much effort for me, which left me a lot of the times in my head and not grounded at all, because I was worried about, okay, if I don't do it this way, then I would never feel grounded. And something about this idea of nature being the only way to actually experience all those sensory things, all the sensory experience, always felt a little off to me. If you see my videos, you probably know that I've been on this journey of self-expression and self-reflection and really trying to heal and understand my patterns and my conditioning. And I can confidently say that I feel very connected to myself in that way. But at the same time, I've noticed that I still feel very disconnected from my physical body, from the vessel, the human. And through my pursuit of getting to know myself, I connected with my mind and maybe even my soul. But I feel like I lost the connection to my physical body in that process. And I think that's because most of the time, this is pretty much necessary. When you start healing, you have to open yourself up to different things, to different possibilities and different theories, and really open yourself up for the mystical, I guess, for the unknown. And that disconnection is really a necessary step to get out of the physical and understand the mystical or all the other things in the world that are not necessarily tangible. And we really need that in order to get out of our heads, to get out of the confinement of the mind, because the mind most of the time can keep us very limited. But I've been doing this for a little while now, and I have been really feeling the pull to come back to my body and really connect with myself in that way. And that for many different reasons, but also because I feel like if I'm not connected to my body, to here, to the now, then I'm not really living. Because as humans, we really do live in the physical. We really need to find our way back to it in order to connect and to fully feel fulfilled. So I guess that's where grounding really comes in. I've noticed people speaking about grounding in a very singular solution kind of way. Like I said, go touch grass, go hug a tree, go outside. And I kept reflecting and thinking, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I should be going outside because that's the only way I'm going to connect with my body. But then I come back to, but what if going outside doesn't feel good to me? What if it doesn't feel good to you? What do you do instead? And maybe you don't enjoy going out in nature like I don't really do. At least not the kind of nature that there is around me, which is a lot of forests and trees and things. And I don't really feel ready to push myself to do something that I don't really enjoy doing. Because a big part of grounding is to feel safe and feel comfortable in your body. Because if you don't feel already comfortable and safe in your body and in the environment you are around, then it's very hard to be present and to feel safe where you are. And the truth is, you can't force yourself to do something just because other people recommend it, and just because it works for other people, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. And to force yourself to feel safe in an environment where you don't feel safe, where you don't enjoy, it's not going to make you feel grounded. It's not going to help you ground yourself in order to take this next step, which is to be present and grounded in your body. So I started asking myself, what can I do to feel grounded in my own safe space, in my living room and my home? What actually makes me feel calm and present in my body when I'm here, when I'm relaxed in my safe space? So for me, one thing that came to mind was water. I love to take a shower and just, put my hands in my ears and go under the shower head and just let the pressure of the water fall on my head and build up on my hands, on my ears. And I cannot explain it. You have to try it. It kind of feels like you are in the sea and the wind is blowing and the water is flowing. Or, under like a heavy body of water, like a waterfall or something like that. And I just feel calm. And however many seconds that lasts, I really feel present in the moment. Another thing is I have a water fountain here because I have cats. So the water fountain is actually going 24/7. I think it's very calming, especially at night when I'm laying in bed and there's no sounds around it, only the water fountain going and everybody's quiet. You don't hear any cars or anything. You just hear the water fountain, and it really kind of serenades me to sleep, and a very comfortable, almost like passive sound in the background, which you hear it, but you don't really realize that you're hearing it. It's just a calming sound. And I can recommend that to anybody. You don't have to buy a water fountain for your pets, but there are all kinds of little fountains that you can have, even to decorate your home, and that is just going in the background. Really, it works wonders. And those are very simple things to do. It doesn't take much effort. No, it's already there. Maybe the water fountain, you have to go a little extra mile and buy something, but it's not a big thing. There are things that you can just put in your home. It doesn't cost you much, and it doesn't cost any mental capacity to actually get out of your house and do something that you are not yet comfortable doing, like going out in nature. And I've realized that grounding is less about what you should do or what is the experience of other people, but more about what makes you feel good and safe in your body. And for some people, that might be going outside and sitting on the grass and hugging a tree. Whatever makes you feel good and safe, you should do that. But for me, it's the sound of the water. For me, it's the smell of the sea. So I would love to go outside if I lived on the coast and was close to the beach. I think I would probably go more outside. So the environment that you live in also provides different ways that you can ground yourself, I guess. And it's all about feeling safe and feeling good and not forcing something that you don't enjoy. Or like I said, my cats, they're here inside my home and they're always around me, and I just love hugging and kissing them like every cat parent does. But I love to just smell their little heads and just close my eyes and enjoy that little furry head smell, which a lot of people will think I'm crazy. But if you have a cat and you have never smelled their little heads, do it. I don't know what it's about their head and their scent that is so comforting. It really brings me back to my body, and it makes me feel really present in that moment with them. And most of the time they purr, which makes it even a better experience, because cats are also known as energy healers, and they regulate the energy inside your home and mostly inside their bodies. But when they purr, they're really trying to regulate that energy and maybe regulate you. I notice my cats, when I'm not feeling good, when I have pain, they come and they lay next to me and they purr a lot, and I really feel like that's very healing, and I really feel better after a few minutes when I'm next to them. So that's also something that brings me back to my body and makes me connect with my body in a very subtle but very present way. So I really want to encourage you, if you are someone who's on this healing journey and you feel like you've already connected a lot with yourself and your mind and your soul, but you're still missing something and you don't know what it is, maybe try to come back to your body and ground yourself in whatever ways that is, in the safety of your own home. And try to do the things that you enjoy and that you really notice that bring you back to your body. If that's showering or playing with a pet or just sitting outside on your balcony and listening to the birds. Whatever it is that makes you feel safe and it brings you a sense of peace, a sense of calm. That is grounding. You don't have to hug a tree or touch grass. You can do that from the comfort of your own home. And especially if you're in a phase where you feel like everything overwhelms you and going outside can feel like a very big step, and you do it when you have to, but you just want to feel safe in your own home and also feel good in your own body. So I think that can be very helpful to find ways to do that inside of the comfort of your own safety, of your own home. Grounding is not about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. There's other moments you have to do that. Grounding is about feeling safe and feeling good where you are and not pushing yourself to do something that other people tell you to do just because it helped them. You need to find ways that feel good to you and already feel very safe to you, and try to be very present during those moments. Really try to go back to that sensory place where you're not in your head, you're literally in your body, feeling all the senses. Grounding doesn't have to be far away. It doesn't have to be a trip to the forest. It can literally just be a moment. It can exist in your space, in your home, in the safety of the small things that you do every day and that already are available to you. You just have to really take a moment and feel it and be present. So I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments what is one thing that you do that helps you feel grounded every day. And that can be the smallest thing. If it brings you back to your body, if it makes you feel safe and calm, then that is what you should be doing every day.